Hello and welcome to day 13 of 64 Days of Truth. My name is Tio, for those of you who are joining for the first time, and today's topic is meeting your own duality. And I want to split this topic into a few different sections. I want to talk about the split that we have within ourselves between, you can call it the two people living within you, we can call it the masculine and the feminine, the active and the passive, and the trust issue that exists between these two forces within yourself, within these two people within yourself, and how we can actually bridge this, what it takes to bridge this, and what life looks like when these two forces are working in union, not when we are trying to balance one and the other, not when we are toggling between one and the other, switching from one going to the other, and always in this war, trying to fight each other, trying to win, trying to control each other. What life becomes when these two forces are operating as one. So let's get into it. Meeting your own duality. What does it mean? Is that we are not integrated beings. That's not how we are created. That's who we are meant to become. By creating ourselves, we are meant to create union and integration within ourselves. And between what? There are many ways to talk about the split that we have within ourselves. The split is most commonly referred in terms of the masculine and the feminine. The masculine is the doing force, is the active force, is the active principle, is the sun energy always on. The feminine is the passive principle, is the being, is also the moon energy. And there is a big level of distrust between these two forces in many people, simply because that's how our reality is structured. That's what we see on the outside. We see the masculine and feminine split on the outside. We see the masculine as the controlling, the dominant, the authoritarian force. The woman, the female, as a submissive, passive, receiving force, receiving instructions, receiving commands. This is how it has been structured. I'm not saying this is the way it is or how it should be. That's what you've witnessed for decades, centuries, millennia. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not judging it. I'm simply talking about what we have experienced, what we have witnessed, and how it has programmed us from within. And because we have seen this, it has been internalized within ourselves, between our own masculine and feminine. And that's why there's a deep distrust between these two forces, because the feminine doesn't trust the masculine, because masculine wants to be in control, wants to dominate, and have its own agenda. The masculine doesn't trust the feminine to hand over control to the feminine, because the masculine believes that if it gives control to the feminine will take over and the masculine will lose all the control. And we've been given this paradigm of control, this belief of control, of this model of control, where only one can be in control. And if one gains control, they will control and dominate the other one. That's literally how we have been programmed. Is one has to be in charge, one has to set the agenda, and it doesn't matter what the other's agenda is. The other one has to compromise, has to support, play the supporting role to the one who's in control. And in a healthy relationship, in a healthy family, there may be more balance, there may be more consideration for everyone's needs, everyone's desires, but at a bigger societal level, that's definitely not the case. And even if you've had a healthy family, you've experienced it in society, this imbalance of what is very typically called the patriarchy, dominating and controlling the system, the world. setting the agenda for the world, setting the agenda for what's important, setting the standards, setting the metrics for success. All of that has been decided by the masculine force. And the feminine's needs, the feminine's desires, what's important to the feminine, what is success to the feminine, has been completely ignored. And that's how many of us are living our lives too. We prioritize material success, wealth, achievement, but secondary to all of that is our well being, literally, our being. For us to be well is secondary for most of us. Until at some point in life, you're either forced to prioritize or you wake up and you realize, I want to prioritize this. It's not feeling great. I want to be well and do well. The issue is that because we haven't been taught how to have these two forces in harmony, in union, and we've only been given this model of control and domination where only one's needs and one side's priorities can win, the trust is completely shattered. There isn't trust that all our needs and desires can be met. We've been given this program that only part of us can be satisfied and fulfilled. And until this root belief changes, that we can be well and we can do well, until then, this trust will not be healed. And for the trust to be healed, neither the masculine nor the feminine can be in control, can be in charge. That's when a third force needs to appear. And the third force lives within you, is present even in society. It's just that it's very invisible and it's ignored. If we start feeding this third force, that's when we're going to find harmony. Harmony is not going to be achieved through the matriarch, it's not going to be achieved through the patriarch, it's not the masculine, it's not feminist who are going to win. If one is going to win, no one's going to win. There is no win lose. There is only lose lose or there is win win win. There is no other reality. The, the idea of win lose is a completely false construct because sooner or later the tables will turn. The one who's winning will lose, the one who's losing will win, and it will keep cycling this way. And eventually, in a sense, both are losing. Both sides are losing at some point or the other. But there is a reality where everyone's winning, everyone's thriving. And that is created by the third force. The third force, typically in the dynamics I'm talking about, between masculine and feminine, between God and goddess, is the spirit. It's not a neutral force, it's a harmonizing force. And there's a difference. The neutral force is not taking sides, it's recusing itself. It's like Switzerland in World War II. It's not taking sides. The spirit, the third force, is on both sides. It's taking both sides. It's finding a way for both sides to win. It's finding a way for both sides to get the best of everything, for both sides to thrive. This is the third force. This is the peacemaker. But the peacemaker not through compromise. The peacemaker where everyone can actually win and thrive. Because compromise is still lose lose. Both are incomplete, both are dissatisfied, and then one will eventually decide, I don't want to be dissatisfied, screw the other, and I'm going to take control and I'm going to win. If there is dissatisfaction, if there is compromise, we go into lose lose. But spirit is not meant for that. Spirit is meant to create win win win. Where all three sides are winning, where all three sides are included. That's the power of the third force within you. That's, if you don't want to call it spirit, that's you. You are not your masculine, you are not your feminine. You are not just the active principle, you're not just the passive principle. You're not just the doer, You're not just the being, you are the one who bridges these forces together, who makes them one. It's not about balancing these two forces. It's not about doing in this full intensity, completely burning out, and then being completely dead. It's not going from 0 to 100 to 0 to 100 to 0 to 100, constantly toggling between these extremes. Or 70 30, 70 30, 70 30, 70 30. You're not at full capacity and you're not fully resting. You can't do fully because you're tired, and you can't rest fully because you're anxious to do. This is about 50-50, but it's not 50-50 in balance. It's 50-50 in union, in partnership, as one force, joined. It is actually becoming one force. This is what calm action would look like, where you can experience deep calm within you. It's not this anxious doing, this constant burning, this constant go, 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 go energy. You're deeply calm, you're deeply centered, but you're very active. You have the fire burning consistently, smoothly. And when you're resting, it's not dead exhausted. It's you're still activated. You've just switched the principle, but the energy is still alive. The energy is still activated. It's, for example, when you would be sitting witnessing beauty. To actually enjoy the beauty, if you're at the beach, let's say, you've gone to the beach, to actually enjoy the beauty, you need energy to appreciate the beauty, to feel the beauty, to feel your emotions, to feel your body being. It requires energy. So that's active rest. It's not I have overwork and now I'm going on vacation and I'm exhausted and I just don't even have the energy to think. And the moment that I have the energy to think, I start thinking about work. So I would rather just be completely exhausted because I don't want my mind to have any energy. This is where you actually are able to quiet your mind and just enjoy what is happening, able to disconnect from whatever your work is fully, and you're able to immerse yourself, your active principle, your masculine in the being. And when you go back to doing, you're rested. You can feel yourself being calm, being peaceful, being blissful, feeling joyful, and bringing that energy to what you're doing rather than I'm anxious and I have to do because I'm in scarcity, because I have deadlines, I have pressures, I have all of these things to deal with and have to go, 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 go. And my being is completely at distress. It's not at rest, it's at distress. So, this is what the third force looks like when you're operating from the third force and you've brought these two forces into union by creating trust between them, by making them realize that both these sides can have what they want, both these sides can thrive, both their needs and desires can be met. It's not one versus the other, it's one with the other. It's not one or the other, one and the other in balance, the mind trying to balance the two things out. It's actually one with the other as one force. 50-50 just depends on what is it, either you're doing or you're being. But in both sides are fully present, or rather, all three sides are fully present. Because the third one that you're actually doing, being doing, is as the third one that you create this harmonious union. And the difference is that you're not collapsing and crushing these two sides and dissolving them into unity and becoming one. You're actually a trinity. It's all three sides are active. The masculine lives, the feminine lives, and the third force lives. You live, the spirit lives. It's not unity where we dissolve all the boundaries and both don't exist and everything is an illusion. No, we are keeping the masculine and the feminine alive, honoring both of them, making both of them thrive, and bringing both your gifts to full capacity. This is meeting your own duality and mastering it. We all have a tendency, one side is stronger than the other. For me, the first half of my life, I was very much in the anxious doing. I was always wired, always on. I was a super workaholic. I'd be working a minimum of 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sometimes I would stretch it to 20 hours. I have gone for stretches of even 30 hours plus. And at the same time, I would be smoking 30 to 40 cigarettes a day, about 10 joints a day, every single day for years and years, almost 8 to 9 years. That's how I was living. So I was constantly in this do anxiety. Second half of my life, I found the other side. I met my duality and I found this absolute bliss, peace, rest, the being. And I just completely rejected the doer and I just wanted to be. And I went very passive. And what started happening is that I started getting depressed. And I started realizing that if I'm just being and there is no passion, there is no action, there is no desire, there's no goal, there's no movement, I start getting depressed. That's how I have experienced it, and there's a lot of research about why we need both. And now my work is mastering the duality, keeping the trinity alive, having all three active. This is still work for me. I have been working on it for a few years, but it's still a lot of work because it's still relatively new. It still requires a lot of mastery to not slip into one or the other, not to become just the doer when I'm doing, and not to be just the being when I'm being. How to be in this active rest and calm action. This is a practice and it takes time to master this, but just having this principle in your mind that it's possible to create this state within yourself by being the third force and honoring both of these and bringing them into union and saying, yes, I want to have the best of both worlds. I want to honor both and I am doing the work to honor both. This is progress. This is evolution. This is what makes your soul happy. This is what makes both sides happy to hear this. Like, finally, there is someone who's going to help us come into union, help us both thrive and move forward. It's not two sides fighting for control who will win because my desires are more important, my needs are more important, versus my desires are more important, my needs are more important. Constantly fighting, struggling, and then if the third force appears, is to create a compromise, is to judge who is right and wrong, who's supposed to win in this moment, to choose. Rather than that, if we evolve the third force to not be the judge of right and wrong, but be the judge who creates harmony, the judge who brings these two forces together, who reconciles the differences into harmony, who teaches these both to work together, because that's exactly what we need. We haven't learned how to work as one integrated unit. We've been taught how to do in the superactive principle. We've been taught how to be in this complete being without the active principle, but we haven't been taught how to bring these two together and work as one integrated unit. And this is what I have been teaching. This is what I'm working on my own mastery of this, but I'm also teaching this. And if this intrigues you, if this is something you want to learn, if this is something you that attracts you and it's like, yeah, this would be amazing. This is what I'm looking for, then I'm very happy that you found this and I encourage you to reach out to me and let's get started working on this because the sooner you get started, the sooner you can put it into practice because it takes time. It's not like you'll come in and I will, or you listen to this video and now tomorrow it's done. This is a work that takes quite a long time. But the moment you start, you already see progress. This is the original yoga. Yoga, I'm from India, so I have some authority just by being Indian, is that yoga was originally about union. That's what the word yoga means. Yoga is union in Sanskrit, and it's a union of the split between the masculine and the feminine, between the human and the divine, between anything that is contradictory. But it's not union that dissolves the duality. It's union that integrates the duality into harmony. So this is a type of yoga I teach, but it's even to call it yoga, I'm a bit afraid usually because people will think it's about poses and this and that, and I don't teach physical yoga at all. I teach yoga of consciousness. But instead of calling it yoga, you can call it whatever you want. I call it spiritual mastery also because for me this is the mastery of spirit. Spirit is the third force. Spirit is the one that brings these two into union. So if this intrigues you, if this excites you, if this is something that you want to master in your own life, honoring the totality of yourself, bringing the totality of yourself online into every part of your life so that the full self is thriving, the being and the doing, the masculine and the feminine, the sun and the moon within you, then it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you in. You'll find contact details in the links, and I very much encourage you to reach out. And I will close here for today. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow for day 14 of 64 Days of Truth.